like a 9-hour train ride over a night, and then 3 giant random Russian dudes are in there with me.
Damn.
And we're just supposed to I'm just sleeping with you guys tonight.
Welcome back to another episode of Careful Boys. We're going to talk about if you really believe that at the top echelon of elites, there's some form of demonic worship.
Like at any industry?
Dude.
Or just at the elite?
No, of the Western
Of
world.
whoever's pulling the strings, running the world. Like, does that...
I think there's so much symbol shit and like so much like where they're doing costumes and all that stuff. It sort of feels almost like normie shit for them.
Yeah, you're talking about like Bohemian Grove type?
Yeah. Where like they're doing gore shit almost. Like, yeah, where they're like bathing in blood and
Eating
babies. But like it's like a big thing of like newspaper or whatever it is at the time. Like,
You know how like in the 90s doing satanic or like antichrist stuff was like so rebellious? I feel like that's chic pop culture now. I think that's what you're basically saying. It's mainstream. So how is it so different, right?
yeah, it's like paper mache, like, oh baby, I had a paper mache baby, I destroyed it on the stage. Like it's like, okay.
But I think that might be cosplaying, and some of the demonic stuff, I feel like at the elite level, I am more leaning towards yes than no. Because I feel like once you have all the money, all the fame, then the thing that you're really trying to get after is legacy. So if you're really trying to get after legacy, how do you live forever? And that's where you have to start, like, I guess, trying to figure out what is the dark arts or what is the black magic. And I feel like that's what it leads you to.
Yeah, I think it's a very twofold concept where number one, in every tier, whether you have like you're the highest elite with power and money or you're really poor, I think in every like level there's somebody who's into that shit, right? It's just that the people who are into that shit at this level of both power and money have the ability to do things at grander scales that are very maybe inspirational to people at this level. They're able to pay for the things that
Like there's different superstitions at every level.
Imagine like the lower class who doesn't have a lot of money and means, who also wants to like sacrifice a baby, but they don't have a lot of babies to sacrifice. Maybe they do it to their own family, blah, blah, blah. But then these people, same sentiment, same feeling. They just have power, grasp, and money, so they can actually buy babies and make it happen on a different scale.
Yeah.
So I think that's fold number one. I think people, I'm not saying all people, I'm just saying you don't have to be a rich elite person to have the same satanic.
but you need one religion for this.
Sure. But I'm just saying, I think that it happens in every level. So the people who are rich and powerful who can execute it, of course, are going to be on a different scale. Mm-hmm. And then I think the second part is that weird societal elite thing where it's the same thing as like on some mafia shit, on some like jumping somebody into a gang, or on some like, hey, I need dirt on you. Like
Chinese businessman. We're gonna cheat on our wives together.
We're gonna cheat on our wives together. We're gonna go to this red light district. We're gonna do this.
Yeah.
And it's not to say that like this is your whole life. But we're gonna do this, and then we're gonna be in this club.
Yep.
You know,
I actually think that's probably like some people might not even believe it, but in order to, when you're at a certain point, right? Because the more business I do, the more people I meet, every level you're in, people will get crazier and crazier. What I mean by that is like being ethical and moral is like a privilege of the middle class because there's nothing at stake. When you get to a certain
or
point,
not enough at stake.
Not enough at stake. I mean, yeah. So for example, Bart had a really wealthy employee, and the things that they deal with, meaning like some people will stalk your family, they'll plot to do a marriage scam, and no peasant is ever dealing with that, right? So like they had to do a private investigation. They found out that the girlfriend that he was dating was actually notorious. Her whole family scams. They plot to infiltrate the family to get a part of the wealth structure and then sue you and all this shit. So like there's just
That's the problem of the wealthy.
Yeah.
there's so many deceit and like backstabbing and craziness. How do you keep someone honest in that level? And I think that what you touched upon is actually true. Through my research, it makes sense. You do the craziest shit together, sacrificing young ones or whatever. You record that and he goes, now I'm not taking your word that you're going to keep it on the cool. I got evidence on you, so you better keep it cool.
And it's like both ways, right?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is. But that's what I'm saying. When you're rich and powerful, the stakes are just crazier
Yeah.
everywhere. You have more to lose. You also have more to fuck around within the darkest
Yeah.
place. You think about like gang stories at like the lower middle class or the lower class level, people getting jumped in, and like oftentimes when you get jumped in, it's also a two-pronged thing. You're literally jumped in, beaten up, but then you also have to commit a certain level of crime
you have
with
to
your
murder
gang
to get in some gangs.
Yeah, you got
George W. had to jerk off inside of the coffin or something.
yeah. You have to do a certain level of
What?
that makes sense to that culture, society, and community, so that everybody's on the page, and then they can look at you and recognize you like, okay, you're literally one of us now.
You're compromised.
And imagine that when you have the highest level of financial means, reach, privacy, security. Like you're gonna do the crazy
so much
shit.
sense to me though. You know why? It's because like think about it. When you're in a position of leadership and you actually have an army, right? And like your job is to take resources from other countries, or else if they get too powerful, they take resources from you. Yeah. So your decision as a leader is always bad decision or worse decision, right? So you have to get used to this feeling of like people are dispensable. How do you create, like, let's say if you're a dictator or a king, right? Same thing. How do you create a future king? You have to have someone that's not going to tremble at murder or whatever, right? So the best thing to do is to, at a young age, have them murder somebody. Like Spartans did that all the time. Totally. At your 18th graduation or when you graduate the Agoge, which is like,
to get to manhood?
Yeah, you're tested.
So
manhood
you
Ken just did that.
You're ripped away from your family. You're ripped away from your family at a young age. And they did this, so you don't have a family. Now your family is the state, right? And then they train you. You get repeatedly raped by boys and you get beat up. And then you're tormented. And then now you do it to the younger class. When you graduate, your graduation present, or you have to go murder one of the slaves that they have. They have slaves, and I think at 9 o'clock or whatever was their curfew. It was a different group called the Helots that they took over. So then they get them used to murdering things. And then so I'm like, what makes you think the rich and powerful people aren't training their children in a similar way where it's like, it's kind of like when royalty marries off their daughters, right? They know their duty is to just be a fucking baby maker and power play pawn. So what makes you think they're not doing that today? Where like princesses are daughters of rich parents of a very like billionaire class. They're like, okay, we need to make this power play. You're going to go marry him. They don't love each other. It doesn't fucking matter. But I feel like, how is that different? You watch movies of royal times and then it's like, what makes people think that doesn't happen today?
And that's a weird. It's good that you call it a power play because it's that play in that moment for a reason, right? It's like going through hazing for like a fraternity or a club, like when you have to like or boot camp.
Or for Kindreds.
Yeah, for Kindreds too. The experience of what you're going through in that most heavily testament and enduring moment is not the rest of your life, but it's giving you this like experience and the people that you're going through it with and the people who are making you go through it, this understanding that like, hey, if you went through this, all the worst that's to come or all the whatever that's to come means nothing compared. Mm-hmm. We have to give you the craziest version. So you put the petri dish in science experiment of like any possible thing that can happen.
Like imagine opening for Jabberwockies now.
Especially for the rich and the wealthy and powerful. You give them the literally human experience of anything that can happen. The worst thing that can happen will happen. Yeah. Then you take that one singular thing and you go, okay, this is the test for everyone. You know, like I'm just saying it's possible by human psychology is all.
In history too, yeah.
Do you guys think then, so like let's say if we bring a real life example, like let's say Jeffrey Epstein, right? You think he is more so the test giver, or do you think people are accustomed to now a certain thing? So now he is supplying the rest of it because now you have this habit.
He's probably like the CVS for COVID tests. They're probably like, oh, you want to be, hey, you go there. Just go there, get it done over there.
If he's so pervasive in this space, there's no way it's any other thing but the second one.
Because
Yeah.
everyone has pictures. Of him.
Everyone.
That's crazy.
Everyone, yeah.
But no one's asking who's behind him.
That's
Everyone
like
thinks he's
saying
the
Diddy.
pimp. Yeah.
Diddy's a Fed, right?
As
Like
soon as the first one happens, then the rest of it falls out of it. So I don't think we'll ever get that. Like everyone's expecting that. Oh, we'll get a picture of Bill Clinton. Like
Yeah.
I don't think any of that's ever going to happen.
and the dynamic works on both sides too. It's not just the person who is like giving it, right? It's also the person who desires to be a part of that club. I remember my first time, or one of my first times teaching internationally, like getting booked solo to go teach. I was like, oh my God, I totally want to be a part of this circuit. This is like a goal of mine, even though I have no fucking idea what it is because few people have done it before me. And then I show up, I was in Russia, and then they give you very loose information. And suddenly they're like, all right, you're going to be put on a train to go to this city to go teach at this time. And I'm like, okay. And they put me on this train, and I didn't know at the time, Russia to literally St. Petersburg area, they have like their train cars have like 4 beds in them. Right. And so I'm putting this train, and then it's like a 9-hour train ride over a night. And then 3 giant random Russian dudes are in there with me.
Damn.
And we're just supposed to I'm just sleeping with you guys tonight. And I've never, like, this is my like 3rd time being overseas in life. And I'm like, what the heck? And then my organizer, great organizer, by the way, she was just like, oh, this person and this person and this person did this. And I'm the young guy coming into this scene. And I'm hearing these people who have more established and have done this exact experience before me. And suddenly that puts me at ease. And I go, I should totally endure this. It like completely changes my psyche on the experience.
And then you got
But I don't talk about it. Unless it's Patreon. Sign up for our Patreon.
Can't you see though how it could get to that point where you're like, in order to compete and survive, and like it could also be like training where like you have to desensitize. So then now they're making you do the grossest stuff. Like, you ain't gay, but now you're sucking all this dick.
Yeah.
You ain't, you're not a killer, but now you gotta just kill people. And then like it gets crazier and crazier and crazier. Yeah.
And if you don't want it enough, you're out, and then they'll kill the rest of your career.
Right?
And then you hear about that. So then you're like, fuck, well, I don't know if I want it, but I'm going to go for it.
Yeah.
yeah.
What's crazy is Bohemian Grove is like in our backyard, but we don't know much about it either.
That's facts.
And then that weird ritual that they do, they like praise like this goat thing, and like people were saying it's like Baal, which is like this
The devil.
old devil. Yeah.
The funniest thing is like, and I'm going to be a complete hypocrite on this shit and sound like a terrible human being in society, but think about like the conceptual ritual or the experience of what Bohemian Grove is. And I'm not trying to compare this exactly, but then think about like Sleep No More theater shows. Are you guys familiar with that?
Mm-mm.
Sleep No More was huge.
Is that the one you walk through?
Yeah. And so they give you these masks, these like fucking bird-like
Oh, those ones.
Oh,
yeah.
I know those.
type things, right? You wear it and you go through, and then it's your choose your own adventure. It's quiet, you don't speak. They take away your cell phones. You go to whatever rooms, you figure out the story, and things are just darker, mature, adult, whatever. And then you walk and you're like, this is so sick. And it's like probably predicated and built off of that concept of dark, elitist, invite only, ritualistic, blah blah. Exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm not comparing that. I'm not hating. I love the
Are you
shows.
talking about an actual thing for regular people, or are you talking about like the Hollywood swinger party?
I'm just talking about like, if you can love it in one capacity, then another one it's very confusing on like what makes something right and wrong. Minus like maybe the sacrificing of a human at the very end. But at the same time, if it was a theater show and they didn't actually kill somebody, and in the show they were sacrificing a human and it was done with great music, I might still want to watch. Does that make me a bad person? Like there's some weird, dark, twisted thing that plays to like what everybody still wants to or is willing to accept and appreciate.
But it's like American Psycho. Like we all think that movie's tight, but then like it's kind of fucked up too, and it's kind of about us as well.
And it probably built a lot of psychos who killed a lot of people afterwards.
Well, it also didn't build them; it just reflected them. It's just like having a bounce board to like show people what these people.
They're already psycho, yeah.
Exactly.
But imagine if Psycho has tons of money, power, protection, and they could do whatever they want.
That's the ending.
That I think is just the truth of.
That's the ambiguity of the ending, where you don't know if they're really helping him cover it up or if it never happened.
And whether they're doing these rituals as a troll or a fad or a style, it's still got demonic origins, because what else is driving that energy? Right. Like Someone who enjoys and revels in that shit, that's all demonic bullshit.
And what else would make people more uncomfortable to share it with their friends? Like, if I went through something like that, it'd be so hard to tell, like, oh, yeah, I'm going to tell Ryan and Anthony about this weekend. Are you fucking kidding me? You know what I mean? Like that's not easy to talk about. Like, that's crazy shit. Anthony could probably talk about it easy, though.
He'd probably make fun of you and blame you for going through it.
I'd probably be like, can you invite me next time? Please? No, seriously. Please.
No, at the end of the day, it's all there's a fucking demonic force at the core of it, man.
Yeah.
We need a Jesus or something.
TFTI.